Harry and got close at the end of the third quarter. It was a 2-point game. He stuck with some guys off the bench, and they rewarded Mike Brown with good play, went on a run with a couple bench guys out there, and that allowed the starters to be rested when it was closing time down the stretch of the game. That's going to pay off monumentally over the course of the season. When you're a player that you get called upon to go into that game, and you know the coach trusts you to produce no matter how close the game is, and if the run's going in an opposite direction, that was big time, the way those guys produced for their new coach.
Knicks were up 15 at the half, but it was tied after the third quarter. And here is what we're talking about. Wally's mentioning this fourth quarter run. Tonight's thrilling moment brought to you by FanDuel Casino. Get your thrill on. A 14-0 run to start the final quarter of the game. And the five on the court, Wally: McBride, Kolek, Clarkson, Cat, and OG.
Yeah, you have two starters out there, so that stabilizes and guys that you can run the offense through. And how about the performance by Deuce McBride? I mean, this is a guy that Coach Brown is going to trust. He was a plus 17 when he was on the floor for 25 minutes. Cat with the shimmy shake, the little Euro step. Impressive move by your 7-footer. And then this is what you do at home. Your bench electrifies the crowd. The bench feeds off the energy of the world's most famous arena. That was a pretty impressive first win against a good Cavalier team. Now, let's not forget, Cavaliers decimated with injuries. No Hunter, no Garland, no Max Strus. Those are three high-level starter-type guys that were not in the lineup tonight. Knicks took advantage. They got a good win to start the season.
Off the bench, you mentioned McBride with 15. Landry Shamet had 9. And Tyler Kolek, who was part of that group that went on that 14-0 run, he played very well. Of course, you have the retirement of Malcolm Brogdon. Maybe Kolek is the guy behind Brunson. He was excellent with 7 points off the bench.
Well, you trust him running the team. I mean, he is an outstanding quarterback at the high basketball level. He was an All-American in college at Marquette, led the nation in assists. He was a first-team All-Big East guy. He's a very smart basketball player. He's going to learn the system very quickly. You trust with him having the ball in his hands, and you can tell the coaching staff believes in him. And that's a great sign for him and his career, because the Knicks need a pure point guard to back up Jalen Brunson when he's not out there on the floor. You need someone to organize the offense, get everyone into the right spots, and make plays. And Tyler Kolek, he makes guys around him better. It was an outstanding job of him. And when the lights were brightest in the regular season, to start the regular season.
So we've been talking about the bench. Starters also played well. Mentioned OG Anunoby with 24 and Ty Decker with 14, and Jalen Brunson had 23 points.
Yeah, Jalen looks quick to me. He really does. He looks fresh.
I think he's lost some weight.
Yeah, I mean, he was flying around the floor. Not banged up like he was all last year, dealing with ankles and all kinds of injuries, but he was moving very briskly, and that was great to see. And that's another benefit of him not having to log major minutes. He's going to be able to really play quicker, play more active, and when he is on the floor, be more aggressive. That's the thing when you trust your backups to come in and make plays and play well and buy you minutes. When you're out there on the floor, you feel to yourself, okay, I can be more aggressive in the 31 minutes that I got tonight compared to 40 minutes. I got to pace myself the way I play on both ends of the floor to make sure I have something left in the tank at the end of the game. Jalen played 34 minutes. I think that's a great number. If Mike Brown can keep the starters' minutes around 35 in today's day and age of NBA basketball, quick the pace is, that's going to pay dividends on the back end of the season in the playoffs.
Now, we've talked a lot, and we talked about in the pregame show how this new system under Mike Brown could benefit Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. Yep. Bridges had an excellent game. He had 6 assists to go with 16 points. And as we've talked about, Anunoby, player of the game, 24 points, tied a career high with 14 rebounds.
And led the team in minutes. You can tell Mike Brown needs him out there on the floor on both ends of the floor. And OG Anunoby delivered big time. Here's a guy that's as good as they come as far as two-way. Obviously, he's an elite defender. How he didn't make all first team, all defense, I don't know who's voting for that last year, but he's on his way to making it this year. 3 steals, a block, and just all over the place defensively. And then the offensive part of his game continues to grow. I mean, he's already an elite offensive player, but it's going to get better. There's so many things that this guy can do offensively out there on the floor, including knocking down the big shot that really iced the game, pushed the lead to 8 in the final minute. That his offensive game, if his coaches continue to open it up and allow him to do more and trust him to have the ball in bigger spots to make plays, there's not a thing that he can't do offensively either, along with his elite defense. And that was a pretty good start to the season for OG, when at the beginning of the day we didn't even know he was going to play. So it was nice to see him out there in the lineup in a Knicks uniform, and what a performance.
OG, a game-time decision, of course, ended up playing. Monica McNutt, as always, helped call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, what'd you think of game number 1?
It's a good start, right? I think you got a lot to be pleased with. Pat and I think in our group chat, we were kind of making notes and observations about the rotation. I was pleased to see, how many deep did Mike Brown go?
11.
I'm pleased to see him go 11 deep, just to get an opportunity to see what guys have to offer. And guys, mind you, this is a solid win without 2 of your key rotation guys. So I think there's a lot to be pleased with, and there's a lot to look at and figure out how you move forward. When we talked to Deuce McBride post-game, he mentioned that third quarter in particular, but he did say that in terms of the buzzword of pace, this was a solid start and a good step in the right direction.
Monica, what was your thought on Huck Porty? I thought he did an outstanding job just doing his job in the middle, matching up against Jared Allen and Mobley. It seems like the Knicks have found someone who can kind of stabilize when Mitchell Robinson can't go and is on a night where he's on load management and can't really put stress on that ankle.
Yeah, Wally, you and I are on the same page. I thought he came in with the right amount of energy. There's a couple times early in the ball game where you could see him crashing the glass, unable to completely corral those rebounds, but then you saw him make the right passes, go from good to great, and just begin to find his rhythm in terms of getting on the glass. He finished the night, with 5 rebounds total, but I thought he was really active and did a good job of not getting in the way. I think sometimes that is an underrated skill, right? Like, you have energy, apply your energy in a way that is a positive and not creating confusion.
Monica, how about the overall balance?
Yeah.
The bench contribution, the distribution of minutes, balance scoring up and down the box score. What do you think of that?
Yeah, you love to see it. Now, look, I think the Knicks understand, and I'm actually going to take a line from Kenny Atkinson pregame. He talked about the regular season each day being an opportunity to improve in order to get ready for the postseason. I think the Knicks are very well aware of that. Guys, we've obviously led our pregame show talking about all the expectations. They get it, and they get it that these opportunities are not to be taken for granted, especially when you're able to go 11 deep minus 2 key rotation guys. And so I think you're beginning to build trust, which is another buzzword we continue to hear throughout the postseason, trusting the process, trusting the system, and trusting one another.
All right, Monica, as always, we appreciate it as the Knicks are 1-0.
Team. The great part about it is, we got a lot of room to grow, and that's what's exciting. You got to give Cleveland credit. We took a double-digit lead going into halftime, and they came out and they hit us in the mouth in the second half, and we gave up 15 fast break points in that third quarter, but our guys, I thought, responded the right way. They did a better job as the game went along, especially in that fourth quarter. One of the things that we talked about was last year we thought, watching film from last year, Cleveland did a nice job of scoring in the paint. They averaged right around 58 points a game in the paint against us last year, and our guys did a great job. They shifted the right way, they got the shooters the right way, which resulted in Cleveland scoring 30 points in the paint tonight, and I thought that was huge for us. At the end of the day, we always talk about, hey, try to win the possession game, try to win the possession game, try to win the possession game, and for us, that's about free throw attempts plus offensive rebounds minus turnovers, and our guys did. They won the possession game against good teams. We have to do that because the ball's not going to always go in. We got to rely on our defense, and we got to win the possession game. I thought they did a great job with that tonight. We got a lot of great performances from a lot of different people. OG was a monster. 14 rebounds, 24 points on 9 of 17, but he was our defensive player of the game. I think he had 6 or 7 deflections. He guarded a lot of different people, so we saw a lot of different types of players tonight, and he did a heck of a job. But he had 6 or 7 deflections. I think he had came up with 2 50-50 balls. And so just a heck of a job, especially defensively and rebounding-wise from OG. And same with Cat, 19 and 11. We needed every single one of those rebounds that those guys got. And then, you talk about a punch off the bench. We had a lot of good performances from guys off the bench, but obviously Deuce was good for us, not only defensively but offensively too. So, good first win, knowing that we got a lot of room to grow.
Coach, you played 11 guys deep tonight. What did you learn from some of the combinations? You had Tyler got some good minutes to start the second quarter. You had a stretch there where you had Clarkson. You had OG playing the big and a bunch of smalls around. So what did you see and learn from your combination?
I said this before. I truly believe this team is a deep team, and you give Leon Rose and his group a lot of credit for it. It's my job to keep trying to find combinations out on the floor that work. And just like they got a lot of room to grow, I got a lot of room to grow too, because I'm still learning them. And, the neat part about it is there are a lot of different ways I can go with it. And I can learn on the fly because we have guys that can play. And, I'd like to play a lot of guys. I don't know if I'll play 11 guys every night. But we'd like to play, as many as we can, and we want everybody to be ready in case their number's called at any time.
Mike, you talked a lot throughout the preseason about the process of generating your guys' looks, and it felt like tonight you guys generated a lot of good looks, just some of them didn't fall.
Yeah.
How encouraging was it, though, that even when shots weren't falling throughout the game, that your guys kind of stuck with it and didn't let it bleed into defense or any other aspects of the game?
It was huge because, when shots don't fall or you get a little stagnant, which is what happened to us at certain times, we kind of took our foot off the gas. We want to play fast all the time, just put pressure on them. And we took our foot off the gas, started walking the ball up, started walking into our actions, and allowed Cleveland to sit in the passing lanes and zone up and do some other things. And so for us, once we got over that hurdle, we realized, hey, we got to keep trying to play the way we play. We were good. We had 21 sprays. We want to get to at least 20 a game where, we touch that paint, because anytime you touch the paint, good teams, they have to do this. They got to protect the paint. But now those wide open shots happen, and I think we can even generate more. I think we can generate 25 to 27 a game because we have that many players, in my opinion, that are capable of shooting the ball, snap driving and touching the paint, and moving it on when they need to off of 2 feet.
What was this first experience like for you at the Garden, winning your first game here as Knicks coach?
It's exciting. Again, I go back to this place is iconic, and just to know that this is our home court every night. Man, it blows my mind. Spike Lee came over and gave me a hug before the game. I was like, Spike, you know who I am?
Coach, who had the biggest smile? Your mom or your sister tonight, since they were both there?
Probably my sister, and I love my mom to death, but she was probably talking to her neighbor, so she probably wasn't smiling. She was just having a good conversation.
Mike, I want to ask you separately about Kolek and then about Porty. Just two guys.
Who was the second?
Porty.
Okay.
Just two guys who had increased roles tonight. Just what did you see from them? What do you kind of think about that moving forward?
I thought both guys came in and tried to do what they're capable of doing. We don't need anybody to come in and play hero ball or anything like that. Play to your strengths. And both those guys, they could do some things out on the floor. Obviously, for Ariel, he's a great runner. He's got great feet. He can rebound. He can play the pick and roll very well. Brings energy. And Tyler, he's savvy with the basketball. He can get in the paint, make plays for himself, make plays for others. He's got to stick his nose in defensively, which he did tonight. If both guys stay within the framework of what they're capable of doing, they can give us great minutes throughout the course of the year.
Does Ariel have more to his short roll game than we've kind of seen? He made that pass to Cap for the dunk tonight, the short roll. Does he have more decision-making ability in those situations than you've seen?
For sure, yeah, because he's so athletic. They have to pull First of all, if you got Jalen coming off a pick and roll, even as you see Tyler coming off a pick and roll, the big's got to put his body in front of the ball. It's just good basketball. And if you don't pull that weak guy in, it's going to be a dunk. And, you know, it was great to see Ariel play off of 2 feet and make that pass. He's more than capable, but in the same breath, he's more than capable of finishing over a small guy if he gets in his way. And I'm not quite sure if he can do it all the time. He's got this like little runner floater thing, and I'm not quite sure, but it's gone in whenever he shot it. So I'm gonna keep letting him shoot it.
You know, Wally, Porty could be very important. If Mitchell Robinson's going to be compromised, if he's going to be on load management, they're going to need Huck Porty off the bench or maybe starting.
Yeah, and
like he started tonight.
You could tell he looks a lot more confident in his abilities on an NBA basketball floor. He's taken a year to learn, and when you're a big man, when you can, the game starts to slow down for you, and you don't feel like you have to be as like hyped. You can kind of make the game easier by anticipating certain angles, and that's a big part of being a quarterback on the defensive end of the floor. He has the athletic